What if I told you the world's second largest economy was already dead and nobody said a word? $18 trillion erased, 70% of savings gone, the biggest wealth destruction since 2008. Banks selling poison to grandmothers, governments hiding $3.8 trillion in bad debt, data deleted. This isn't collapse, it's worse. Decades of stagnation, a generation sacrificed, and it started in silence. The sleeping monster? It's awake, and it's already too late. This is the sleeping dragon. China's economy was already dead in 2019. They just forgot to tell anyone. For 20 years, green arrows, skyscrapers, miracle growth. The world believed China was unstoppable. Factories hummed, banks printed money, families bought apartments like lottery tickets. By 2020, China was the factory of Earth. They made everything. The sleeping dragon had awakened. But in 2021, Beijing did something strange. They attacked their own companies. Real estate giants vanished. The official reason, financial stability, common prosperity, but the real story was written in invisible ink. China's property market wasn't just big, it was 70% of all household wealth, $18 trillion. Evergrande, Country Garden, billions in debt, millions of unfinished apartments, ghost cities under moonlight. Here's what they didn't tell you. This wasn't a crash, this was execution, controlled demolition from the inside. For 4 years, prices fell, not stocks, everything, food, cars, wages. China entered a deflationary spiral. Deflation sounds boring. It's not. It's economic cancer. When prices fall, people stop buying, waiting for cheaper. Businesses slash prices, profits die, workers get fired, they buy less, prices fall again. A death loop. By 2024, over 25% of Chinese companies were losing money, highest in 25 years. But here's the twist. Beijing kept them alive. Zombie companies, billions in loans to corpses pretending to breathe. Why? To avoid mass layoffs, political survival over economics. Meanwhile, the real monster was waking up. Hidden debts. Local governments owed 90 to 110 trillion yuan. How did they hide it? Land sales. For decades, local officials sold land to developers. That money ran everything. But when property died, the money stopped. Police started extorting drivers, teachers unpaid, fiscal winter. The banks, even worse. They were selling bad loans, credit card defaults, at 10 cents on the dollar. Then they repackaged them into securities. Guess who bought them? Regular people, grandmothers, students. Poison, gift-wrapped. In early 2026, Beijing quietly extended a policy, 3.8 trillion yuan in bad loans, just rolled over. Translation? Kick the bomb down the road. Don't defuse it, just delay the explosion. The data itself vanished. Regulators stopped publishing numbers. Banking stress? Hidden. Loan defaults? Classified. If you can't see the fire. But the people felt it. Youth unemployment? 15 to 20%. Factories closing. Bosses fleeing the country. This wasn't just economics. This was a demographic bomb. China's population? Shrinking. Births collapsed. 1.2 kids per woman. Fewer workers, fewer buyers. An aging nation that can't afford to retire. Pension accounts? Empty. The government borrowed from them. And then the exports. For years, China flooded the world. Cheap solar panels, electric cars, 90% discounts. They called it overcapacity. The truth? Desperation. Make anything. Sell it at a loss. Just keep the machines running. But the world pushed back. Europe slapped tariffs. America 50% taxes. The export machine was choking. By 2026, growth forecasts 4.5%. Sounds okay until you realize China's official numbers are fiction. Independent analysts, 2.8%, maybe less. The miracle was running on fumes, and everybody knew it. Total debt, 300% of GDP. Not government debt, total. Households, companies, provinces, everyone drowning. Xi Jinping's response? Tech self-reliance, semiconductors, AI, electric vehicles. Invest in the future while the present burns. But here's the cruel math. High-tech jobs? Millions. Manufacturing jobs lost? Tens of millions. You can't retrain a 50-year-old factory worker to code AI. Let's talk about the families. Remember, 70% of savings in real estate. Houses they bought, now worth half. $18 trillion just gone, erased. The biggest wealth destruction since the 2008 American crash. But Americans got bailouts, stimulus checks. Chinese families, they got silence. No rescue, no safety net, just vanishing dreams. Young people, they invented a word for it. Tong ping, lie flat. Why try when the system is rigged? Why work when success is impossible? Gig workers, 200 million. Delivery drivers, no pension, no health care, racing against algorithms for pennies per delivery. Trust? Shattered. After COVID lockdowns, after wealth evaporated, Chinese households now hoard $22 trillion, too scared to spend. Inequality exploded. The Gini coefficient, 0.49. Translation, the gap between rich and poor is a canyon. And the government solution? Censorship, delete bad news, arrest complainers. If you can't fix the problem, hide it. Protests? Crushed. The white paper movement, students holding blank signs, arrested for showing nothing. That's how fragile it is. So what happens next? Here's the terrifying part. This isn't a collapse. It's worse. It's Japanification. Japan's lost decades? 30 years of stagnation, deflation, zombie companies, aging population. Sound familiar? But China's version could be worse. Bigger population, less welfare, more debt, and a government that refuses to admit failure. The sleeping monster isn't China, it's the debt. 300% of GDP, waiting to explode. Demographic collapse, irreversible. Overcapacity, flooding global markets with cheap goods, destroying industries in Europe, Asia, Americas, exporting their pain. Will China collapse? Probably not. That's the tragic part. It'll just stagnate for decades, a generation sacrificed. The miracle was built on sand, the dragon was always paper, and the collapse, it started in silence. What can we learn? Simple. When a system prioritizes control over growth, stability over truth, it doesn't explode, it rots from the inside, slowly, quietly, until everyone just accepts decay as normal. That's the real nightmare. China won't die dramatically, it'll just fade, and 1 billion people will live smaller lives than their parents. History in reverse. The sleeping monster, it already woke years ago. We just weren't watching, and now it's too late to stop. This is what happens when economic miracles meet mathematical reality. The dragon was always moral.